Hi, young people. Yeah, that's a good one. My problem on this one is the cops. Now, the judge and the senator obviously has probably been entitled his whole life, but I don't think the guy was being that unreasonable. So I'm on his side. And I like his wife because she's feisty. But I digress. Let's get to the bald police. I mean, I'm sorry, the follically child. I'm sorry, the officer whatever. We'll just get to the footage of this. Now, there's several different little footages of this, and I can't find the basic original footage from the body cam. All these news agencies got the body cam, but I can't find a body cam on any of the cop, or nobody shared it with me, and when I did a search, it's not coming back. So let's take a look at the video from another. This was on the Daily Mail. Now let's take a look at it from another news site. Which is this? WKBW. All right. Supreme Court Justice pushed police officer invoking the mayor's name after fight with neighbors. Now, this kind of sounds like they're making the Supreme Court guy the bad guy. I'm kind of glad the judge jumped in. I'm glad the judge saw how cops treat people. I'm glad that these cops treated these people like they treat all the other pesky citizens. So I am glad that they didn't hide their true colors. But the bald cop that gets in this judge's face is a typical, stereotypical bald cop with too much freaking steroid use, trying to be out there macho, buying his shirts 3 sizes too small to make his arms look bigger, and he's just about an ego trip. And this is the when you guys hear me cracking on bald cops, this is the cops that I'm talking about. Let's watch this.
Shows the scuffle between a state judge, his wife, and the Buffalo police. The Eyewitness News I-Team obtained this video through a Freedom of Information request. Good evening once again. I'm Keith Radford. Our top story here at 6 tonight, that brawl. And as I-Team Chief Investigator Charlie Speck shows us tonight, Grisanti then appears to use...
Justice Mark Grisanti reacted to Buffalo police after officers arrived at his Dulles Street home for a call about...
So, this is his wife. She's kind of mouthy. She's a little uppity. She's got a pink shirt on. I should put this on my horse channel because everybody thinks I hate pink. I kind of like this girl because she's feisty. She's yelling on her own property, which isn't against the law, and the cop takes it personally and rushes over and tackles her and is going to put her in custody because he gets pissed. And the cop was wrong. It was an unlawful arrest. She shouldn't have been manhandled. She shouldn't have been assaulted. It was an unlawful assault. And I think the judge defended his wife, did the right thing. So, everyone else wants to blame this judge. Now, look, I'm not a fan of politicians. This guy was a senator. Now he's a judge. He's probably a career politician. He's used to getting his way. There's a whole bunch of reasons on why I don't like this career government guy. But I think he was right here. And I think she was right. And I think both cops were wrong. But the bald cop was more wrong.
About a dispute with neighbors. But it was Grisanti's wife, Maria, who first escalated the situation with police.
They say, ma'am, if you don't stop yelling.
So, she's on her own property, across the street. Should she have been yelling? No. Would it have been better if she didn't? Yes. Is it against the law? No. This cop is contempt of cop. He's talking to these 2 other women, and he gets pissed off that she's yelling, and he goes over and is going to assault her, use his government police powers, handcuff her, tackle her, place her under unlawful arrest because he got his feelings hurt. He's a freaking pansy pussy who's attacking a woman in her own freaking yard, and he's going to be out there talking about how tough his job is, and how they're all heroes, and how he has to deal with really bad guys, and he had to arrest this woman today because she was a danger to his safety. He's a freaking pussy in my book, and he's the one that caused this. But that's my opinion.
Who first escalated the situation with police.
They say, ma'am, if you don't stop yelling, this is going to be a problem for you.
I don't care.
Okay, cool. Then get over here.
You're not going to arrest me.
I sure am.
I sure fucking am. Get over here. So this cop runs across the street from another yard to get in this woman's face because he's mad. It's unlawful. It was unjustified. This cop should be disciplined. This cop should be the one charged with a crime for assaulting her, not the judge for defending his wife against an unlawful assault.
My son, no.
We are not doing this right now. We are not doing this right now.
Judge Grisanti starts yelling at the police officer, then gives him a shove.
We are not doing this right now. We are not doing
No.
Okay. Did this guy just assault a cop? Yeah. Did he interfere with arrest? Yes. Is he obstructing an arrest or operation or duties of all? Yes. He committed a lot of crimes. But there is laws in place and case laws that say you can violate the law under certain situations. Rick, the law is the law and I read it and you can never violate it. Well, that's because you're an idiot. An easy one to use is you can run a red light if you see a car plowing through the intersection and hitting cars behind you, and in order to avoid getting hit and to not be involved in this accident, you can run a red light, and it would be legal. So you can break the law if your life is in danger, if you're protecting your life or others. So there is case law, and there's situations to where the law does recognize that just because it's a law, it's not absolute, and there are ways that justify you breaking the law, which is justifiable homicide. Rick, you can't kill somebody, that's against the law. Well, that's because you're an idiot, because you can. And they put it in there as a justifiable homicide. So there are exceptions to the law. I think this is a great exception that this cop is defending his wife, and he's stopping an unlawful assault from a government thug, punk, pussy, who likes to beat up women and be a tough guy. That's my take.
Dude, keep your hands off. You better go off my wife. Dude, she's going to cuffs. She's going to cuffs. Do not
Listen,
fight
my daughter and my son-in-law are both Buffalo police officers.
I know. And you
I'm calling right now. Dude!
would not want them putting your head, somebody putting their head. Dude.
Now, to the judge's credit, he never tells them he's a judge. He only tells them that his wife and kids are laws enforcement, or his son, his cousins. He has a lot of family in law enforcement. He does mention that he's friends with the judge or the mayor. So, look, a lot of people drop names. Big freaking deal. I didn't care if you dropped names. Hey, man, I know the chief. I know the chief's wife. Do you know him? Yeah, man, we're good friends. And they always try to use that to try to influence cops. It's not the end of the world. It's not a crime. It's not, as long as they don't threaten you that I'm going to call the chief and get you fired. And even then, who cares? It's not a big deal. The people that take that personally are pussy ego cops who want to prove their manhood behind a badge when they know they have backup and they've got all kind of people behind them and they get to abuse their authority. Those are the people that take this name dropping personally. I don't give a shit if people name drop. Who gives a shit?
We're not going to fight a cop.
Over the course of more than an hour of body cam video obtained by the I-Team, Grisanti repeatedly tells officers about his family connections to the BPD. He starts to threaten police.
You need to if you don't get the cops off her right now, you're going to have a problem.
Okay, is that a threat? If you don't get the cuffs off her right now, you're going to have a problem? Look, that's not a threat to me. Okay, I mean, I've had guys tell me they're going to hunt me down and kill me in the middle of the night, and I didn't charge them with a threat. I had them say, you're dead, dude. I'm going to track you down. I know who you are, Gordon. I'm going to get you. You're freaking dead. I didn't charge them with a threat. I documented it in case I showed up dead. They'd know who a good suspect was. But, I mean, look, big freaking deal. People say shit when they're drunk and angry. I mean, it's just bullshit that they're making this guy the bad guy.
We're not doing that. We're not threatening that.
You need to get the cops off her.
Grisanti then mentions his relationship with Buffalo's mayor.
And listen, I'm good friends with Byron Brown.
The officer can be heard telling Grisanti he should know better than to push an officer.
And if someone was screaming at your daughter and approaching her like that, she would have done the same thing.
No, you grabbed my wife from over there and dragged her over here.
He's exactly right. He did go. Not only did he grab her, he had to move across the street to go and chase and grab her because he didn't like her yelling. He didn't like her exercising her right to free speech on her property. That's government interference. It's wrong. It's unlawful. And that cop needs to be disciplined. And this whole incident is a result of that cop's actions. So the fact that he didn't charge this guy doesn't get charged, by the way, for assaulting him, which I think is kind of wrong. And I'll get to that when we get to it. But this cop doesn't get charged. Why didn't the cop charge him? Well, I think because he knows he's freaking wrong, but we'll see.
Which was not necessary. Okay. So you need to chill out about that.
I have a camera, so it's all documented.
I don't care about your camera. Just give it a little constructive criticism, dude.
Okay.
That's when Officer Richard High, who has been suspended by the department in the past in unrelated cases, loses his patience with...
Gee, this guy loses his patience. Who could have predicted that? Raise your hand if you think this is the first time this guy has ever lost his patience. Bald, tough guy, standing around, angry at the world, tough with his badge, sits around at night, polishes his badge, polishes his bullets and his gun. Yeah, who could have predicted this guy is going to react? Well, I sure as hell could have.
The state senator turned judge.
Hey, let me give you some constructive criticism. You want to drop another copper's name? You want to scream about, Gamali or the mayor? Why don't you shut the up? And you kiss like what?
This is what's called assaultive behavior. He is within inches of the guy's face. He is screaming. He's imposing his force and might, looking down on the guy, screaming and being a tough guy. This is the typical ball-headed, ego, over-steroid, over-testosterone, punk-ass cops that I hated working with, and every time they showed up, somehow we got in a fight to where we didn't need to be in a fight. Somehow the officers had to pull him off because he was so busy being a tough guy, showing how tough he was, how he was going to take on the world, how nobody disrespects him. He's going to show who's boss because I'm big, bald, and powerful. Oh, man, I just can't stand these guys like that. And believe me, I've worked with a lot of them. Most of them were pussies when it came to real bad guys. They were only this way when they were dealing with women or guys they knew wouldn't fight back when they had a lot of backup.
Shut your mouth. Put your hands right back. Listen. Put your hands right back. You want to be difficult? You want to say all these coppers? I know all these things. No, you want to make us look dirty? Is that what you want to do? So how am I helping you now? Tell me, how can I help you? Shut up and let me talk to you, you old geezer.
Shut up, you old geezer. Wow, that should be like a hate crime. He hates old people. Old people need a new hate crime law because he just targeted this poor guy because of his age. Freaking little punk. How about this old geezer beat your freaking bald-headed ass and teach you a lesson? How about that? Freaking punk-ass cops. I can't stand them.
Shut up. Shut up. Let me talk to you. Since you had so much to say and you touch a cop. So let me talk to you. Okay. God. Let me talk to you. God.
Anybody think this guy got anger issues? Anybody think when I'm always pointing out bald heads that I'm just being unreasonable and unfairly targeting poor bald people? No, not all bald people are this way. But usually bald-headed cops who shave their head to be freaking macho Mr. Clean, want to be a Kojak, fall back to the freaking 70s, that's what their attitude is. And that's what this guy is. And he should be charged with multiple crimes.
Grisanti is handcuffed and placed in the back of a police car, but later talks with Detective Mark Costantino, who is also his cousin.
Lieutenant gave me instructions to, this is Detective Costantino, to bring the phone over to you and let you talk.
Okay, so, dude, let me tell you something, Mr. Senator, Superior Court Judge, whatever your title is. Don't trust this freaking cousin cop of yours. Because he's just setting your ass up to admit on video and on the phone to him, and you've just made your own cousin a witness that you openly admitted to shoving and assaulting a cop. So this detective should have never said, let me talk to him and then ask him incriminating questions. This is what's called a in-custody interrogation. This statement will be inadmissible because they didn't read him his rights, and now you have an officer questioning him about his innocence or guilt. And he gets him to admit that he did a criminal act while he's in custody. Now, others will argue that the dumbass judge didn't need to answer the phone and wasn't compelled to talk to his cousin on the phone. Therefore, his dumbass statements are admissible because he's too stupid to know that they were voluntary. So that's the legal dilemma on this admission he's about to do.
I believe it's on speaker now.
Oh, hey, Mark.
They're saying that you pushed an officer. You wouldn't do that, would you?
You know what? When he dragged.
That statement is eliciting a statement from an in-custody suspect on his innocent or guilt. And I think it's in violation of Miranda. But the argument will be he voluntarily talked on a phone and he could have said no. Therefore, it wasn't coerced. It was voluntary, and now we get to use it. I don't know how that would play off in court.
Well, he dragged Maria. When the two girls were on Maria, he was dragging Maria across the street and actually was taking her down on my front lawn. And I basically said, listen, just like talk to her. And I pushed him and I said, don't friggin' tackle her.
And I pushed him. He admitted to an assault. Now, as a judge, I would have explained that better. Like, yeah, what happened was, if I would have said anything, I wouldn't have said anything if I was smart. But if I'm going to go ahead and talk, at least say, when the cop unlawfully crossed the street to attack my wife, and he violently assaulted her and dragged her and assaulted her in my front yard on our property because she was talking, and then he dragged her and was assaulting her on the ground, I went over and stopped his unlawful attack by pushing him off her and trying to get him to realize he was violating the law. That would have been a much better statement by this judge, this lawyer, this person who spent his life in the courtroom, that I have all these experts always coming to tell me how smart lawyers are and how smart they are with the law. You know what? This guy's an idiot for what he did, and his dumbass cousin cop that called him and got him to admit over the phone is also an idiot. Unless his cousin's a good detective and just wanted to screw him over. Then he was smart. How about that?
Pushed him. I apologized to him, Mark, right after that because I said, listen, I respect you guys in law enforcement. You know, I go, my daughter's a police officer, my son-in-law's a police officer, all my family's police officers.
I mean, the thing that freaks me out is that everything you do is going to be scrutinized because of your job.
Well, Mark, I never mentioned anything about my job or.
So this is critical. He never mentioned he was a judge. I say that's in his favor. I say it's good he didn't do that. Him dropping the mayor's name and my kids are cops, big freaking deal. That's not, who cares? Most cops don't care that. You pull 50 cops up on a stand and say, officer, when somebody says their family member is a cop, does that worry you? Are you concerned with your job? Does that create fear or any type of coercion in your decision? I bet you all 50 cops would go, hell no, I don't give a shit. That would be the answer. So how can now the media say, oh, this guy was really bad, he mentioned his kids were cops? Most cops don't give a shit about that. The only person in influence is the media to make a big deal out of it.
Who I was, you could ask any officer. I never mentioned anything like that. All I said was,
arrested, that's going to be in all of, that's going to be on.
Yeah, I understand that.
Certainly.
So, this smart cousin of his, who's a cop, who's a detective, either is too stupid to know that this conversation is now recorded and becomes evidence on the body cam, and he's saying all this to make the police case stronger and to hurt his so-called cousin. Either he's too stupid to know that, or he's trying to set this dumbass judge up. Ricky's not a dumbass, he's a judge. He knows more about the law than you. You don't know what you're talking about. You were just... Shut up, you freaking idiots.
Not happy about it. Certainly he wishes the incident never occurred.
Attorney Leonard Zaccanino, who is representing the judge.
Every person ever caught for any criminal act or any government or any time they're in the media, when they get caught in a compromising or negative position, guess what? Raise your hand if you think they regret that the incident ever occurred. Of course they regret it. They got freaking caught.
Judge says he was trying to defend his wife, and he feels his actions are being taken out of context.
I agree with the judge, and I think he defended his wife right, and I think he didn't defend her as much as probably I would have, because I wouldn't have just pushed the cop. They would have had to transfer their aggressive acts to me instead of my wife. I would have became a bigger threat than my wife, who was on our property just talking, if you start attacking her in front of me. But, that's just me. Whatever.
And he got angry and he raised his voice and he put his hand up. And he did make contact with the officer. He feels bad about it, okay? He feels bad about the whole incident.
In response to this story, Mayor Byron Brown issued the following statement. It has been and remains my policy as mayor not to interfere in any police investigation.
Bullshit. Look, mayors always get involved. And I'll explain this statement after we finish reading this here.
I have not spoken to the Buffalo Police Department, DA Flynn, or Judge Grisanti regarding this matter.
Okay, so let me explain to you what that statement means. That means the mayor has not personally called any of these people, because if he calls them personally, then he can't make this statement. So what he does is he contacts all these people through third parties, either through friends, either through comments, either through aides, either through somebody to say, you know what, I'd like the district attorney to know this, but I can't do it because I'll be getting involved. And the person goes, no problem, boss, I get it. And then they go communicate what he needs to communicate. And now the mayor isn't lying when he makes a statement that says, I have not spoken to the police department or the district attorney. Okay? He has spoken to him. I guarantee you he's contacted his people have contacted. If they haven't contacted him, some of these people have contacted his people. So there has been contact. And anybody that believes there is no influence, contact, or discussion going on, well, then you're a freaking idiot.
I believe that the DA's office is in the best position to determine the appropriate course of action.
This is a good politician move to say, hey, you know, the DA got elected. I'll put this on him. He needs to make the decision. That way, if it goes bad, it's his fault. I don't care. I don't want my hands on this. That's a good politician move. Blame it on another elected official. The DA will say, well, the mayor wouldn't give me any guidance on this, and therefore I had to follow the law. Had the mayor got involved, the mayor could have stopped this, and the mayor could, and then I'll blame the other guy, and everybody blames everybody and points the fingers, and then somebody yells Black Lives Matter, and then everybody forgets everything, and they just act like fucking idiots.
Now, Buffalo Police spokesman Captain Jeff Ronaldo said Grisanti was not charged because he didn't tackle or punch anyone.
Well, that's a bullshit statement. So basically you're saying it's okay for people to shove cops as long as you don't tackle or punch them. Is that the new law? Of course not.
He says the decision on whether to charge or not to charge was the officer's decision, and the DA did not offer an opinion on that matter.
Oh, so now the DA is like, well, I don't have an opinion on it. I thought the mayor said the DA was in the best position to choose. The DA is the charging authority. The DA gets to choose what crimes to prosecute and what not. The cops don't get to choose that. But in this case, the DA is saying, oh, the cops get to choose. So according to this, the only time that people get charged with assaulting cops is because the cops want to press charges. It's not the DA. Really? Who believes that? That's freaking total bullshit. And you want to know why the cop didn't want to charge? Because the cop's freaking wrong. He knows he shouldn't have went across the street and assaulted his wife, and he's hoping that if we don't charge him, they won't come after me. It's all bullshit, smoke and mirrors. This case stinks to high heaven. I'm with the judge, even though I think the name dropping, and he's probably a government spoilt little crybaby official that gets his way. I'm still on his side for protecting his wife.
For the I-Team, Charlie Speck, 7.
All right. Well, in that there, y'all can make your own decision. Tell me how wrong I got it in the comments.